Red Bull's Max Verstappen has waded into the title fight politically, with the Dutch star stating McLaren complains a lot, following Lando Norris's penalty for passing the Dutchman off track in Austin. McLaren were up in arms in Texas post-race after the stewards handed Norris a momentum-killer 5-second time penalty that dropped him off the podium and elevated Verstappen. Verstappen's criticism came off the back of his call earlier in the weekend that Oscar Piastri shouldn't support Norris's title campaign across the final races as he's not a number 2 driver. He's just a great F1 driver who doesn't deserve to give up wins and positions and play second fiddle because he's asked to, he said. The United States Grand Prix promoters have been fined almost $550,000 for a spectator invasion that saw 200 people gain access to the pit straight, where competing cars were on the cool-down lap. The event's first invasion in 12 years saw the crowd climb a fence next to the main grandstand, drop down, go under another debris fence, climb the trackside wall, and then merge onto the track. The promoters must deliver an official remediation plan to the FIA by the end of the year, with $380,000 of its fines suspended until the end of 2026 should there be no more track invasions. The invasion follows similar issues at the Australian and Brazilian Grands Prix. Red Bull endured a storm in a technical teacup in Austin, following discovery of a device on its car that could adjust its ride height via the front bib, though the issue was squashed with evidence that the system couldn't be used without pulling the car apart. The FIA cracked down on adjustments to the car's front bib in Parc Ferme ahead of the weekend, with the update stating that it must be clear from physical inspection that changes cannot be made without the use of tools. But while it soon became clear the system was on Red Bull's RB20, it was later understood to be buried within the car and complex to operate. Yes, it exists, although it is inaccessible once the car is fully assembled and ready to run, said a Red Bull spokesperson. In the numerous correspondence we have with the FIA, this part came up and we have agreed a plan going forward. Liam Lawson has revealed that Red Bull team boss Christian Horner told him a year ago that he'd be back in a race seat at some point in 2024, locking in a mid-season driver swap. The Kiwi impressed during a 5-race stand-in for Daniel Ricciardo that ended in Qatar last year. But Lawson told official podcast F1 Nation that he knew he'd return, just not that it'd take 23 races.
The idea of me jumping in is something that, Christian told me a year ago. And when I stepped out of the car, that was one of the things he said to me is that, he said, I give you my word, I'll basically have you in a race seat at some point next year. So I always knew that that was the intention.
Lawson delivered on Red Bull's expectations upon his return to Austin, outracing his teammate Yuki Tsunoda and equaling his best result with 2 points for 9th. Oscar Piastri's race engineer Tom Stallard says that there's no shortage of untapped potential at McLaren, suggesting the Papaya squad could go on to dominate the sport. McLaren looks set to secure its first Constructors' crown since 1998, with its standings lead built on consistent performance, including 6 wins from the first 19 events, its last in Singapore. But Stallard, in a chat with F1's official podcast Beyond the Grid, says there's more to come.
At the moment, we feel very much like we're still in a developmental phase, that the team is still growing and building, and that the things we've been working on, they're not yet ready. The truth is, the reason why we're, if anything, surprised that these good results are coming is because we feel like there's a lot of good processes that we're still working on and developing. So there's still a lot of opportunity. So if anything, I think we are keen to show the world what we're capable of, because we don't think this is it.
Williams driver Franco Colapinto has admitted he's learning about how to deal with his newfound fame. with the Argentine no longer able to eat at fast food restaurants as he used to just a few months ago. Colapinto has proved a revelation since replacing Logan Sargent from the Italian Grand Prix, with the 23-year-old straight on the pace, while he's scored points at 2 of his 4 races so far, with his best result 4 points for 8th place in Azerbaijan. His performances have impressed F1's power brokers, to whom he was previously invisible, who have generally described him as exceptional. And it's been the same for the fans, with the Argentine still catching up with the fact that everyone now knows him. I would love to be eating maybe a burger in a McDonald's with a lot of cheese, and maybe I cannot do that because they are taking pictures. You have to take a bit more care, and I am working on that, Colapinto said. 2009 F1 World Champion Jenson Button says that axed RB driver Daniel Ricciardo has a bright future with options galore to explore. Ricciardo's F1 career came to a close after Singapore, with Liam Lawson replacing him at Red Bull's sister team for the rest of the year. But while the writing was on the wall, with Ricciardo struggling to deliver top results consistently, Button says the next phase could be great, with the Honey Badger's effervescence in high demand. He's such a personality, Button said. He's got such a career in front of him. Whether it's in racing or TV, stand-up, whatever it is, Daniel will find the route that works for him. Aston Martin's development driver Jack Crawford may not have raced last weekend, but he had an incredible homecoming, with news he'll drive in the Abu Dhabi postseason test for the Green Mark. And a special show run through his home city of Houston ahead of the US Grand Prix, where he drove the AMR 22 at 5 different locations across the Texan metropolis. All in aid of the 50th anniversary of Aston Martin partner Aramco's American headquarters, and the launch of a shared new initiative called Generation 3, which aims to drive innovation on the racetrack and road and deliver social impact. For Crawford, though, it was about bringing his dream home.
Able to wake up in my own bed this morning and drive a Formula 1 car, I'd say that's pretty cool. I was able to do donuts around the streets that I've been on since I've been growing up, and yeah, it was super cool.
F1's power brokers have decided to scrap the bonus point for fastest lap from 2025, with the initiative failing to improve the spectacle or deliver a new angle for race strategies. The bonus point, only available for those who finish in the top 10, was brought in from 2019, with just 5 more chances to secure it before it's gone for good. The sporting regulation decision was made at the FIA World Motorsport Council's latest meeting, along with a change in mandatory free practice sessions for young drivers, with an increase to 2 per car. Four-time F1 world champion Sebastian Vettel is set to once again pull on his helmet, with the 37-year-old confirmed to create a German super team with countryman Mick Schumacher at 2025's Race of Champions, held for the first time in Sydney, Australia. Vettel, Schumacher, and 6-time Australian Supercars champion Jamie Whincup are the first drivers to be announced for the event, which will be held at Stadium Australia on March 7 to 8, the weekend preceding F1's season-opening race at Melbourne's Albert Park. The last ROC event was held in 2023 in Piteå, Sweden, with the winner, local hero, Sweden's 2-time DTM champion Matthias Ekström. Ferrari dominated at the US Grand Prix, but was also victorious off-track with the launch of its latest stunning supercar, the F80. The 2-seater, which succeeds the Marque's 2016 LaFerrari Aperta as the prancing horse's ultimate steed, is a hybrid twin-turbo V6 with 1,200 brake horsepower at the wheels. Using technology from both its F1 and World Endurance Championship cars, just 799 will be made, all of which have been spoken for at a price of $3.9 million US. Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.